Whoa, it's Wulzy. Welcome back to another Geometry Dash video. As we all know, Geometry Dash is a very complicated and complex game with one button, but some insane visuals. Personal project I took on a while ago saw me flipping the game into a planet using Reshade. It's a graphics engine for Geometry Dash that does not change how it's played, but how it looks. I made a live commentary video on it a while ago, just learning it and trying to figure out how it works. But then I went and beat every single RobTop level and this online level called Bone Survivor, which looks absolutely insane at 4 times speed. Look at this, and check out the end wave that is coming up. It's impossible to see what's happening. There's a certain level of memorization and a certain level of learning that goes into this. To get to this point, I started from scratch. I went to Stereo Madness, Planet Stereo Madness, I should say. Basically gonna recap the events and just talk about my experiences with Planet Mod, going through this experience. The experience, you know what I mean? I am not the greatest commentator in the world, but I'm making do with the skills that I do have. This is Stereo Madness. It was pretty straightforward. I just learned how the curve worked, really. The ship was the most interesting because it's smallest at the bottom and widest at the top, but most of the time in Stereo Madness you're just straight flying anyway. Back on track was very similar, and you can see the effects of some of the blocks around the outside. They get very distorted. There really wasn't much to learn, but one thing I will say is quite difficult is when you hit a yellow jump pad, the screen kind of shrinks because objects move closer to the bottom. You see the circle in the center just goes way down, and it can make it really hard to see the upcoming jump. So you need like a decent understanding of the level, how the structuring is made. I mean, this straight fly is pretty easy. Certain objects can appear the opposite orientation if you don't read it correctly, but I'm pretty good at the game, so it's alright. This is polarized. We just have the yellow orbs being added as a piece of the gameplay. Look at that. The fake is just so intimidating because you can barely see the ground that you're supposed to land on. I'll say certain objects at the top of the ship section are really hard to see. You can barely see that object around the outside, right? I mean, I'm still learning at this point. I wasn't getting too ahead of myself, but I was pretty hopeful that I'd be able to do every single RobTop level. It gets so intense towards the ending. I never quite got the grasp of seeing when to fall and when to jump when the blocks are so tightly placed together and there's not much of a difference. I mean, obviously when it's 2 blocks tall, you can clearly see. I'll show you later in the video. I ended up getting a 98% on one of the levels because of that. But you're about to see how trippy Dry Out got for me. The upside down really, it shoots you so far out, you're not really used to seeing the cube that big. And when you jump so far up, it moves further around the outside, which was really difficult to get used to as well. But it's only really Dry Out and Base After Base that have those upside down sections that are just planted on a big line. And here's another ship section. This one wasn't too bad. Just don't get too close to the ceiling on the floor and you'll be fine. Base After Base probably got a little bit difficult in the darker sections. Yeah, let's take a look here. You got a long way up and you have to just let go at the right time just to make sure you don't end up jumping off to your demise. But yeah, this is quite difficult to see because the structures are all in rectangles. It's a little bit easier to see where the edges are, but I don't know. I found this one a little bit tricky just to get my head around it first. And you can see another one of these cube sections. This one isn't that bad in my opinion, but oh, it's just so trippy when the spikes are just zooming around the outside and there's like, oh god, I can't even get my words right, but just moving the camera is difficult. This one was the hardest that I completed so far by a mile. Can't let go. This one's already pretty infamous for some of its timings. But yeah, just look at the camera. It's going so far up and down at the beginning, making the distortion even worse on the edges of the blocks. And then you have to just jump at the right time when you're shrinking. That is so hard. That part right there, I died to that so many times because you just don't know how many blocks you're going to have to fall down. This one does require a little bit of memory, I'll say. This is just another straight flyable ship. Nothing too difficult here. Oh, dude, these jumps are so tight. I don't know. Oh, you go all the way around the outside. You just can't see where to go, dude. It's so bad. I'm pretty sure Jumper was the first one that I beat out of all the planet levels. I think it's easier than Can't Let Go, but definitely has a couple of things you need to get the hang of. I mean, this ship is, again, just straight fly, like a lot of RobTop levels are. But this part with a bunch of pillars is a little bit difficult to read. It all just pops up in front of your face. And there's a couple of different pathways that can throw you off too. And we have my infamous thumbnail part coming up. This part looks so cool. This is one of my favorite sections in all the RobTop levels for Planet Mod. But yeah, this is just hard to read. I don't know. It's difficult to tell which pillars you need to fall at and which ones you need to jump because the slabs are in between. So you can't get like a consistent reading of how tall the pillars are. Usually the nicest way is just to compare the pillar sizes. Oh my goodness, this one was so hard too. Going around the outside, I don't like that at all, dude. Now we're at Time Machine. There's a couple of flipping parts here. It's fine. There's also a lot of triple spikes, but you can read them the same way you always can, so it's okay. And then we have this section in Time Machine where you go backwards. This also isn't too much of a problem, except the icon is in such an ugly place. I don't know. I don't like looking at it just at the top of the screen. Dude, that structure is so... Oh, I take it back. This was actually quite hard to learn. The main problem with Planet Mod is judging the height of everything and moving the camera. And going all the way out, dude, you have to react so fast. Oh, you just need to know the level like the back of your hand. I remember dying here a couple of times because just like, what is this? And this ending is so intimidating, dude. Whoa, oh my god. The ship part wasn't really a problem, except that gravity portal kind of threw me off, I think. I think I found cycles really difficult as well. There wasn't really a level past this point that I breezed past, apart from maybe X-Step. Yeah, there's a lot of this in cycles where you just need to know exactly what to do. Because look at the camera movements. There's so many different pathways and there's so many spikes on the screen that can just really overwhelm you. And the ball part, oh my goodness, don't even get me started on the end ball part in cycles. This part isn't so bad, right? This one also isn't that bad if you just do single clicks. But I died at this ball part so many times because there's so much distortion. It goes so high whenever you switch gravity. It's just... Oh, I would not like to learn this one again. This actually gaslit me into thinking the end of cycles is harder than it is. Based on my experience with Planet Mod alone, it's completely tainted the way I view the level. I mean, this ship pod was kind of tight. You go so far down there that it was kind of ugly, but X-Step's pretty easy for the most part. Yeah, like, this isn't really anything that bad, and you just stay in the middle for most of the time. Do you think this cube maze was slightly difficult? Yeah, you gotta jump over some pads at times, but it's pretty straightforward. And this part, yeah, it goes in and out a lot. It's just memory, dude. I didn't die there that much. And this ball part, I don't know, I think because the movements are a little bit smaller, you can kind of tell where everything is a lot more nicely. Cycles one is so claustrophobic, I don't know, I get mixed up with it. And here we have my new planet hardest at the time, Clutterfunk. This one actually sucked. This corridor was pretty simple. I think when it switches, it was a little bit problematic, but you can pretty much sight read it. I did not like this ship part very much, and this ball part was also extremely confusing because of the amount of times you go from the ceiling down to the floor. The amount of portals that's in it as well is just really confusing. This part I could barely get my head around because there's just so many gravity changes. You go down to the bottom there and switch. It's just so small. You need to know everything about it. This ship part was pretty scary, but it would have been a lot easier if I used the ceiling and floor. What am I doing? Oh my goodness. Very ugly gameplay from me. Just trying to stay in the middle at all times. And this is just by far one of the hardest RobTop parts in Planet Mod at least. Oh my goodness. There's so many blind jumps. Did you see that triple spike? It went all the way around the outside. You have to pretty much pre-jump and know that it's coming. And then there's a few jumps that you just have to know about. Like the jump off this block. It looks like you could just drop past the soul blade. You just can't. Yeah, it's just terrifying all around. There's so many stacks of orbs like this that you just need to memorize. There's a bunch of bridges like that you just need to know that they're coming. You need to know how many times to jump at certain... Oh my goodness. I don't want to do this one ever again. I'm not gonna lie.
Oh, yes!
You can tell. Theory of everything. I don't remember this one being much of a problem. I'm not sure, actually. I think the UFO might have given me quite a bit of trouble. Yes, and I'll tell you why. This UFO isn't too much of a problem. I mean, you gotta get the correct entry into there, which is pretty difficult because you can't 100% like gauge the height. This part's pretty straightforward. I think it's pretty smooth sailing all the way through, including this ship part too. But this UFO is a problem. The entry's hard enough, but going mini and backwards, dude, you just have to memorize the click pattern. I'm not gonna lie, you cannot judge this. Oh, you go all the way up and then all the way down too. Genuinely so difficult. It didn't even feel like I was learning the UFO's game mode. It just felt like I was learning the level. Electromod Adventures was one of the most fun levels in this whole journey. This ship pod was really fun. You go so far up and down. It's easy to read at the same time. It's just nice. I think the circles really help you get a map of it. This one's pretty straightforward until you get to the beat drops here. More reverse, which was a little annoying, but it's fine. I think I hated this part. Yep. Any sort of UFO pod was just so hard to read. And this, you can't really tell how tall the structures are. I don't know, it's hard to describe without letting you play it. If you play this for yourself, you will understand. And blocks like that, where you have to wait a slight bit before you jump, right here. You have to memorize that, because there's no way you can process that that block is 2 blocks long and not just 1, right? And jumps like that, you have to just... No, you have to pre-jump, basically. Oh, club step. I'm pretty sure I did this one in a call with Aeon Air, and this one was one of the most interesting Geometry Dash experiences I have ever had in my life. Look how much the camera is moving. There's a lot of memory here. I'm pretty sure I can do most of club step just invisible now. There's a lot of ups and downs here that you just gotta know about. Then the drop, you gotta learn where you can go in the ship and where you can't, and then use your best judgment, because there's no way you're gonna get through it every single time, let's just be honest. And the camera goes so far down there, it's just, oh man. I would love to learn this whole level again, because this was like a really nice balance of memory and skill. Like, most of the skill from Planet Mod is just judging where the icon's gonna go, knowing how your momentum is, knowing how tall everything is. This one, it really tested me, dude. I didn't think I was gonna be able to do this one. It took the most practice, I think, at that time. Oh, dude, the ship where you just go zooming straight down as well. This one has a lot of UFO as well, so there's a lot more memory. And then there's more judgment. You have to go all the way around the outside, which is scary because your icon is huge. Then there's straight fly, and then this weird, like, corridor up-down fly that was super difficult. And here come my clicks. This is just, I could not do this again. It would take me so much more practice just to get used to everything again. But let's just take a look at the reaction here. I'm pretty sure Aeon's on the call.
Let's go! Let's go!
That was sick.
Oh
That
my
was
God.
so cool.
Yes.
New number one demon? Question mark?
Yes!
Planet Club Step?
What Aeon said there at the end of Clubstep is pretty interesting because I am not sure where Planet Clubstep actually ranks amongst my hardest demons in the game, if I was to put it amongst them. I actually have no idea, but we have electrodynamics. The speed change was really difficult to get used to. And this ship part, do not get me started, dude. This was one of the most annoying parts just for resting on the floor and then getting this part was so annoying to get right. Like the swings, I have to go so far up and down with like a few clicks at a time. And this UFO was hard to learn too. Dude, this is getting difficult now, let me tell you that. But yeah, I think the three RobTop demons with Planet Mod are amongst my hardest completions in the game. I'm not gonna lie. This whole journey is probably the most difficult thing I've undertaken. Oh my goodness, that part where you fall onto the ground, and then this ship section is just ridiculous, dude. This part to the end is probably one of the hardest RobTop parts to do in Planet Mod, especially this part and the quad spikes at the ground. I know they're only quads, but dude, just get out of here. In this part, I died like 5 or 6 times. I think ever since Clubstep, I'd started doing my completions in calls and just having some of the calls be muted because the grind was just so miserable to play on my own. I just wanted to do it with other people and also kind of flex that I was playing Planet Mod, you know? Hexagon Force duels were pretty hard to learn because you have to look at a tiny one and look at a big one, which is pretty difficult to process, I'm not gonna lie. It just looks so distorted. It looks so wrong. It looks like one icon's in front of the other one. And dude, don't even get me started on like ships and balls. The cube is like the easiest duel. And this part was super difficult too, just because you can't 100% tell what everything is. And then we have probably the hardest part in the level for Planet Mod. Dude, you just can't even process what's happening. But ship parts like this, with arrows, thank you, RobTop. You've made my Planet Mod experience so much nicer. Oh, and this part's hard too, because you just go flying up in the air so many times, you have to know when to jump off the slopes, because there's pretty much no indication with Planet Mod what you're supposed to do. And this part just looks so wrong. It looks like you can rest everywhere. You can't. It's tighter than it looks, I promise. Last processing kind of felt like a rest in all of this, to be honest. I had to learn the wave, but it's honestly not too bad. It's just a wave that's on its side, because you get bigger and smaller in the corridors, and so does the level, so it's fine. There's no irregular shapes that don't match your flow. You just kind of go against an edge and it works. Definitely one of the more playable modes in Planet Mod, I'm gonna say that. And oh, no, this duel was difficult. I could not read this to save my life at the start. And then there's a UFO pod that can just catch you off guard. It's nothing too difficult. You just need to know where to go. Oh, you can't even see the spike ceiling there, dude. What is that? And then everything else kind of just comes second nature. It's definitely a reversible skill to have in Geometry Dash playing in Planet Mod. Like, I haven't played it for so long, I feel like I couldn't do half these levels now. Oh, this. Dude, knowing when to jump and when to fall with just tiny blocks like that, get out. And then we have my Planet Mod hardest at the time theory of everything too, which I didn't call with Aeon and Junie. And this one was a nightmare, let's just be honest. Knowing where to fly was ridiculous. You kind of just had to get the click pattern down. Ball sections where the whole screen just spins at 3 times speed, it's just not fair. UFO corridors just seem so wide, but they're not. Knowing where to go in the mazes was a challenge. Yeah, this is definitely a step up from Planet Clubstep. Like, if Planet Clubstep's like a medium demon, this is at least a hard, like, borderline insane. Because the upcoming waves as well, knowing where to jump in the invisible sections, it's just so hard. The screen shrinks. The ball maze as well. Just, no. Just get out of here. Like, oh, I would not like to relearn any of this. This is such a weird experience to rewatch, because at the time it was so watchable. I knew how it worked, but now I feel like in this video I'm just complaining about it, even though it was a really fun experience to learn. I don't know. It's such a weird thing. I was expecting it to be much more fun to watch, or much more like, oh, it's not that bad, or like, like, I was expecting to give it praise, right?
That's so nice of you, Junie, to welcome Wulzy back.
It's such a casual conversation, considering I'm, like, sweating at this point, probably. And here comes the yes, yes, yes. Planet Geometrical Dominator. Moving objects were kind of a challenge, because you had to memorize whether they were going to move to the side or up and down. Such a weird playstyle to have, and going the opposite direction all the time with the gravity, just so hard. Knowing which are slopes, which are blocks, it's getting much harder at this point just to process. The skills, you don't really need that many. You've kind of learned how Planet Mod works. It's just knowing how the levels work. Look at this. The moving platforms. Oh my goodness. You cannot see a thing. Down movement can look like an up movement, depending on which way you look at it, depending on which side it is around the circle. It's just so difficult. This part wasn't too bad. This ship section was kind of weird because there's so many ups and downs, I'm pretty sure. Yeah, like, don't even look like structures. They just look so weird. That's a slope, by the way. Couldn't have expected that. Then the UFO part, these literally just look like they're slidable. I don't know. Then the memory part, which literally is a memory part at this point, because there's no time to process whether the blocks are up or down. You just need to know. If you want to see the full uncut recordings of these levels, by the way, check out Wulzy clips. I have a whole playlist of them in there called Planet Mod 100%. But yeah, like the moving blocks. I died here at one point. I'm pretty sure I got like a 90 something, 93 maybe. And this robot part was kind of free. Cool. I'm pretty sure I didn't react to this one. Cool. I'm going to show you my 98% planet deadlock before I show you the full completion. There's a lot to talk about here. Now, I don't actually die in this video. It ends right here. I just pause and go, no. But you see, I'm supposed to fall there, then jump. So a lot of comments that were telling me, oh, you lived. Nope, that's just a lack of understanding of Planet Mod. It just looks like I was supposed to jump because of the angle. I don't know. It just caught me off guard. I don't know. But Deadlocked was so hard. Oh my goodness. The moving objects and the amount of flow that's in this going up and down. The green orbs. Dude, the curves were so hard to read. The wave sections, I know I said they're easy, but come on now. This is just so hard. Processing the gravity changes, the moving objects up and down. This is probably one of my hardest completions in the game. I would probably put this like right under Cataclysm, personally. Dude, it's just ridiculous. The teleportations, the amount of off-screen gameplay for me. Did I get the coin? That is the question. I believe I did not. Okay, that's kind of lame of me, but that's okay. Robot was also kind of a difficult game mode, especially when it's changing gravity. That's like one of the hardest things about Planet Mod. This ship section was really hard. There's not really much else to say about that. You kind of just had to memorize where to go. And then this UFO part, I also just memorized a click pattern, not gonna lie. It wouldn't have made a difference if I was looking or not, because it gave me no valuable feedback. This wave, dude, it's just so dumb. This mini wave looks really funny. Now, this moving part is probably the coolest looking part of any Planet Mod completion I have. Dude, this is so sick. And again, more moving objects. Just get out of here. And this, yeah, I died here a few times as well. Please. But my 98% was the biggest kicker, dude. This jump at the very end, man. I can't believe I got it wrong.
Boom!
Boom.
Let's go!
I'm so glad I got this done. Finger dash. Now, I didn't really experience much pain with this one. It kind of just came and went. I'm pretty sure the fact that I went through so much pain with the rest of the RobTop levels, learning everything there is to know about the cube movements, the camera movements, moving structures, height, all of that stuff, I'm pretty sure this just put it all to the test. Like, there wasn't really much else to do. The spider is just another version of the ball, so I already knew how the camera was going to work. I just had to put the pedal to the metal, and this one, I don't think it took me very long at all, I'm not going to lie. Finger dash is not actually that difficult. I'm pretty sure I didn't get the coins, which would have probably been a lot more difficult to get. But yeah, it's just nice and slow and fun, right? Wait, this ship part was hard though. I remember struggling with this one. The fireballs and stuff. It was kind of confusing, but I got the hang of it pretty quickly, I'd say. And yeah, this robot part is kind of just existing. And again, it's a pretty wide wave part. Did I get the... No, I just completely missed the coins. Well, that kind of sucks. But then it just ends with a spider part and a nice, easy UFO? I don't remember here. No, it's a mini wave. Oh, there is a mini UFO. Yeah. Dude, I don't know. I'm not really too huge on Finger Dash, but I'm pretty sure I pretty easily beat this. It is what it is. It's nothing special. I was lying, by the way. The challenge is up next. I don't know why everyone wanted me to do the challenge so much. I guess it's just the final piece of the puzzle. I did the bugs, dude. This is the true way to beat the challenge. Planet Mod and bugs. Such a random RobTop level, by the way. I skipped that platform. I'm so savage. I was so tired of Planet Mod at this point. I know I beat Born Survivor afterwards, but there was a hefty gap between. That's it. And with that, my Planet Mod playlist is completely done. That's my entire experience. Sorry for the miscellaneous video. I was just looking through a few of my old videos and I realized I never actually documented any of that. It was mainly just a side quest. Thank you so much for watching. Check the links in the description. Leave a like and subscribe and have a good day.